I mean, even at the end, Caitlin Clark got hacked in the last 2.9 seconds of the game. Caitlin Clark was hacked. No call. Should have been 3 free throws. 3 of them, bro. She should have had 3 of them.
Them breaking the WNBA just pulled off the heist of the century. And no, it wasn't a sneaker deal. It was the refs robbing Kane Clark and the Indiana Fever in broad daylight, if you thought the Liberty had this win. On talent thing again, because this one shady call had more drama than a Real Housewives reunion. Did the refs forget their glasses or just their integrity stick around? Because this scandal makes WWE.
It was one of the worst refereed game. It was one of the worst refereed games I've seen. But in a long, long time.
The WNBA referees are turning into full-blown Broadway performers with their latest act of theatrical injustice. And guess what? Caitlin Clark just got front row seats to the show, whether she wanted them or not, because apparently when it comes to officiating in the WNBA, consistency, fairness, and functioning eyeballs are optional, so long as the new.
I think some of the calls, and I hate to dwell on the referees. You guys know I don't like to do it because I really don't like to pay attention to the sports police, but I feel like they are part of the story here. At the end, the last play, Caitlin Clark has a chance to attack going left with Natasha Cloud. She sticks the hand in, kind of looks like a clean steal, can't really tell. You can call that as a reach. Refs choose not to. Stephanie White chooses not to challenge.
Fever Ver New York Liberty, one of the most anticipated matchups, mostly because Caitlin Clark has managed to drag the entire franchise kicking and screaming into the national spotlight, like she's the basketball version of a one-woman rescue mission. But despite Clark's heroics and Indiana's best effort to play actual basketball, someone forgot to inform the referees that this wasn't supposed to be a game of Simon Says. Liberty win.
The refs, no. We put names on it. We put names on it. When the referees aren't good, we put names on it. Angelica, Ryan, Aegon, Abazi, folks, I'm watching that game. I noticed Aegon's bald head from anywhere. I can be over here in New Jersey, look out my window and be like, oh, that's Aegon over there. What's he doing down the street? He doesn't live anywhere over here. I can recognize that bald head. I can pick that bald head out of a lineup. Don't show me his face. Just show me the shine. Show me the glisten on the top of his head, and I can say, yeah, that's Aegon. These 3 referees were atrocious today. But I do want to say, Ryan Cesano, I did a lot of calling out referees last year. Ryan, I'm not too familiar with you, Ryan. But now you are on my radar.
Now, don't get it twisted, the Liberty are legit stacked roster killer chemistry and more depth than Shakespearean monologue. But when the refs start tossing them free points like Oprah handing out cards, you get a foul, you have to wonder if someone accidentally spiked their Gatorade with a splash of pure, unfiltered New York favoritism. By the time the third quarter rolled around, it stopped feeling like a basketball game and started resembling a parody sketch called Foul on Caitlin. The musical star and the refs as tone-deaf headliners and Clark as their unwilling punching bag, and of course the moment in question, that call of that glorious logic defying brain-melting physics, denying call that practically screamed, we're not even pretending to be subtle anymore. Caitlin Clark was doing Caitlin Clark things, controlling the floor like a seasoned general slicing through defenders with precision of a neurosurgeon on Red Bull, and essentially lugging the entire Indiana Fever franchise on her back like a fireman during a 4-alarm blaze with the clock winding down and the pressure mounting like a volcano. Ready to go full Pompeii, she drove into lane eyes locked on the rim destiny within reach. This wasn't just another drive, it was a full-on cinematic. Moment cue the slow motion, the swelling orchestral soundtrack, the dramatic heartbeat, overlay. You could feel the electricity in the air. Everyone in the arena knew what was coming, a fearless play from the rookie phenom, who's already being compared to legends, and then bam, a hit so obvious, it could have been spotted from the International Space Station, a foul so blatant. It could have been classified as an assault in most jurisdictions. Don't understand her arm was hacked or momentum thrown off, and she tumbled in a way that screamed crime scene more than basketball. Play a foul that would have made even the most hardened street ball players wheeze and mutter, "Yo, that was dirty." But the refs, oh no, the referees apparently decided to live in a different dimension, one where gravity works backwards. Unicorns ref the games and basic eyesight is optional. Suddenly, the officials developed a case of selective blindness. So severe to qualify as a medical emergency, a blackout of justice. So total, you'd think someone unplugged their moral compasses. Mid-stay whistles silent, not even a peep, not a single shrill. Note from their shiny little instruments of supposed fairness, it was as if they'd been replaced by cardboard cutouts of themselves programmed to ignore the very concept of reality. The crowd in absolute disbelief were talking jaws on the floor, fans clutching their heads like they'd just witnessed a UFO land. Mid-court phones flew into the air as people scrambled to record, rewind, and rewatch the carnage, hoping, maybe just maybe, they'd missed something they hadn't. It was as clear as daylight, and yet somehow invisible to the only three people in the building actually paid to.
Shout out to Stephanie White. The Fever coach stood up for her team. She demanded respect, and she blasted the refs.
Even the announcers needed a moment to reboot their brains. There was a full 5 seconds of silence, a broadcast eternity, before one of them managed to stammer. "Well, I think we're all a bit stunned right now." A masterclass in understatement. Meanwhile, Caitlin lay on hardwood like a fallen warrior, blinking in disbelief, her expression a blend of shock, fury, and pure unfiltered. "Are you freaking kidding me?" And just like that, in a game where every second counted, the officiating crew decided to ghost the rules and effectively slap a game over sticker on it. The ball went the other way. The moment evaporated into infamy, and an entire fan base collectively screamed into the void. You could practically hear the tweets composing themselves, hashtags being born in real time. Caitlin's face said it all, every wrinkle of her brow, every flinch of her mouth. It was a face of a competitor who had just been robbed. Under the brightest lights, not just of points, not just of a win, but respect to the assurance that doing everything right will get you the reward you deserve.
Down low, Clark has to get open. 1 second left. Clark doesn't get the shot off.
That was a foul, guys. And I wish we had another angle. Oh my God, I wish we had another angle. So, guys, I'm literally surfing the web right now. I'm literally surfing the web right now to try to get us some footage, man. Because this right here is ridiculous. Natasha Cloud straight up fouled Kayla Clark.
She didn't beg, she didn't throw a tantrum. She stood up, wiped off the sweat and injustice, and got ready to finish the game. But the sting was there. Everyone saw it. Everyone felt at that moment. When you realize the playing field isn't as level as they promised, this wasn't just about a missed call. This was about the message it sent that no matter how many triple doubles you rack up, no matter how much you elevate your teammates, no matter how many records you break or eyeballs you attract, to the game, it can all be undone by a few seconds of bureaucratic indifference. A call like that doesn't just impact the scoreboard. It echoes into locker rooms, into press conferences, into Twitter threads, and TikTok rants and barbershop debates. It sticks to the game like gum on a sneaker, messy, annoying, and impossible to ignore.
Play, no doubt about it. In my opinion, it looked like Natasha Cloud probably fouled her. It was not called. The referees love to swallow their whistles at that time, that part of the game. But then again, they did not swallow their whistles with the foul call on Lexi Hall against Sabrina Ionescu.
And let's be real, if the names have been different, would that whistle still have stayed silent? If it had been a more established player, a league darling with a few all-star nods under her belt, would the refs have swallowed the whistle if the jersey had said anything but Clark? That's the uncomfortable truth. Everyone's dancing around, but too afraid to say out loud, because moments like this peel back the glossy veneer of fairness. In sports, suddenly the myth of equal treatment looks laughable. The illusion that the game rewards only merit dissolves with one gut punch and no call. But this wasn't just a routine miss. It felt like a betrayal, hustle, betrayal of excellence. Caitlin Clark left it all on that court, every ounce of fire, skill, and heart. And what did she get? Not even the courtesy of a whistle. Just deafening silence, no explanation, no justice. Just a void where fairness was supposed to live, and in a game where sound defines consequent silence from the officials can scream the loudest. It says, "You don't matter enough." And that echo, it travels far beyond the hardwood.
4 games for Stephanie White to say, I've had enough. It's taken 4 games for Stephanie White to say, you know what? I've had absolute enough. Game 1, okay. Game 2, okay. Game 3, all right. But today was the last straw when it came for Stephanie White. The New York Liberty get to the free throw line.
Now, let's talk about the most infuriating, blood-boiling, jaw-droppingly ridiculous part of the entire game, the phantom foul call on Lexi Hall. That practically gift wrapped the win for New York Liberty. That single moment changed everything with the score tight and tension. In the air thick enough to slice with a knife, the referees decided to toss common sense out the window and hand the Liberty a 2-point lead on a silver platter, and not because of skill, hustle, or an actual foul. Oh no, it was because they apparently saw something no one else on earth did. Seriously, what fouled Lexi Hall was as clean as a whistle on that play. No contact, no shove, no arm swipe, nothing. If anything, she was given the kind of defense coaches dream about, but for reasons only known to the refs' overactive imagination. They called a foul. It's almost like they were auditioning for a daytime soap opera and mistook the court for a stage replay after replay showed the same thing. No contact, zero nada. But sure, let's pretend she committed a crime worthy of awarding free points to the opposing team.
Yeah, I was like super frustrated watching this game. It was not called the same for both teams. And you know, I haven't been one to call out the refs a lot I hadn't been one to call out the refs a lot last season, but this season it's so apparent that how lopsided the officiating is. But you know what? I still feel better about this game than I felt about the win that the Fever had.
The timing couldn't have been worse either. That bogus call gave the Liberty just enough of an edge to eke out a win they didn't deserve. And yes, it felt fake. Because this wasn't just about Lexi Hull. This was a slap in the face to the Indiana Fever as a whole. And more specifically to Caitlin Clark, who's already had to deal with enough shady calls and questionable treatment to last an entire season. It's starting to feel like there's a vendetta brewing against the Fever and Clark in particular. She's the most watched rookie, the talk of the league, and clearly not everyone's thrilled about it. The officiating in this game made it painfully obvious. If they can't stop her with defense, maybe they'll just try to stop her with whistles. The fans saw it. The replays proved that the commentators hesitated, but the scoreboard didn't care, and in the end the Liberty walked away with a win wrapped in controversy. If this is what fair play looks like now, someone better
went downhill. So this is them calling a foul on Lexi Hall, right? This foul is determining. This foul right here was the reason they won the game. This foul right here, guys. The game was tight.
I mean, she turns the corner and gets downhill. I don't know, Alexi Hall vertical. Maybe that's offense-initiated contact, and maybe Stephanie White's going to take a look at it.
Chance to give the Liberty the lead.
I mean, she turns the corner and gets downhill.
Guys, even the commentator said maybe that's offensive. Guys,
Of course, the refs, in their infinite wisdom and unwavering commitment to chaos, saw this interpretive flailing, this off-Broadway-level dramatics from the defender, and collectively decided, yes, this is absolutely a foul on the rookie, who's single-handedly reviving our entire league's ratings and fan interest. Obviously, she must be punished for playing basketball too well. So naturally, they slapped a foul on Caitlin Clark and Indiana Fever, because breathing within a 3 FFT radius of a defender is now considered illegal. She was sent to the bench. Indiana's momentum was thrown into a blender, and the officials probably gave themselves a little fist bump for their heroic efforts in maintaining balance, because why wouldn't it as a vibe now call a foul on Caitlin for existing too confidently, or maybe for blinking too aggressively near someone's aura, and when she's actually fouled, like hack smacked or leveled, you simply look away, adjust your whistle, and pretend the laws of physics glitch for a second as performance art disguised as refereeing. And Kane's just the unlucky lead in this absurd production. Somewhere a ref is probably rewriting the rule book in crayon. Thou shalt not shine too brightly unless thou art a veteran.
you think about the foul on the previous play with Sabrina and how she went at Lexi Hull. They call it that time. Bonner gets whacked on the other end. They don't do anything. I don't know, man. I don't know how to feel about this. I feel like it was kind of stolen from the Fever a little bit here.
So now, what does the league pretend it didn't happen? Do they tuck this moment under the rug with all the other oops calls, hoping we all develop sports amnesia by next week? Or do they finally take a hard look at what accountability looks like? Because the fans saw it, the players felt it, and Caitlin Clark, she lived it, and she won't forget it. Because moments like that don't just disappear, they fuel comebacks, they inspire reckoning, they become rallying cries, and Kane Clark doesn't need your whistle, she'll just take your soul the next time down the court.
Foul that happened, or the non-call, to try and win the game. And one of the things that happened during this whole game is the referees for again, what, the second game in a row, I guess, definitely for the second game of the season, the referees swallowed their freaking whistles when it came to the Indiana Fever, and Stephanie White has lost her mind over it, and I don't blame her. I mean, at least she's standing up for the team, making it a public issue. So now the WNBA is at least on notice that everybody knows it now, that this team is not getting any calls.